Welcome to your PMA Pro membership, your gateway to continued professional product marketing development. Whether you're new to the industry or an experienced practitioner, we've covered all bases with our variety of specialist content, including on-demand presentations, templates, exclusive content, mentors, toolkits, learning paths, and more. So let's take a look at exactly what could be all yours as a Pro member. Starting with exclusive articles, jam-packed with in-depth insights from experts at companies like Google, LinkedIn, HubSpot, and Drift. And we add new pieces to your dashboard every single week. Your template hub is packed with 50 plus vetted and tested templates and frameworks designed to streamline fundamental processes. Used by companies such as Slack, Microsoft, Twitter, and TikTok, rest assured, you and your team will be equipped with the best materials to enhance your practice. And better yet, we add new templates into your plan every month. Here at PMA, we have a busy event schedule year-round, and as a Pro member, you'll get access to every presentation on demand to enjoy whenever and wherever you please. Better yet, you won't have to pay a cent to attend our virtual festivals and summits. The discounts don't stop there either. As a Pro member, you'll also get 10% off our suite of certification programs. After a structured learning experience, then our product marketing learning paths and toolkits are for you. Whether you've got a positioning overhaul on the horizon, want to upskill in sales enablement, or plan for next quarter's product launch, each toolkit and path features presentations, templates, and guides that'll help you hit the ground running and continue your professional development furthermore. Moving on to our peer councils. They're the perfect platform for live, virtual interaction, and the monthly gatherings allow you to connect with an intimate pod of product marketing leaders to strategize and collaborate. And last but not least is our mentor program. Whether you want to be a mentor, mentee, or both, you can accelerate your personal and professional growth by learning from product marketing heavyweights all over the world. So, with product marketing teams at globally recognized brands such as IBM, TikTok, Uber, and Amazon reaping the benefits of the stellar content on offer, why shouldn't you? Sign up for your PMM Pro membership and access a never-ending flow of tried, tested, and recommended tactics, learn from the leading lights in the industry, fast-track your professional development, and accelerate your career trajectory.
Hi everyone, excited to be speaking here today. My name is Yaroslav, I'm a product marketer, and what I'm going to be talking about is a playbook on how to build a sustainable growth strategy and execute on it. So a quick introduction, like I said, I'm Yaroslav, I'm a product marketing manager at a company called MacPo. I'm working on a product that is called SatApp, which is a productivity service that works as a subscription-based app store. I'm not going to be talking about my product today. What I'm going to be talking about is how to build and execute, how to build a growth strategy and actually execute on it. This is what people usually picture when they think of growth: money, progress, success, revenue. But growth is not about any of these actually. Growth is about the process you have to build and execute, not money nor success. It's all about the process. And the good news is that there is a framework you can apply to build a sustainable growth. Products and markets can be unique, but achieving growth is not unique at all. It's about the process that you have to build and apply to your business, to your products, to your teams. And it doesn't matter whether you're building a B2B or a B2C product or a marketplace. It's the process you have to follow and build and implement it. So like I said, there is a kind of a playbook that I will be sharing today, and it's based on my experience and my team's experience and the products I'm working on. And this playbook consists of 3 key items: find and measure the product market fit, build and scale functional growth teams, and scale via testing and experiments. And I'll be touching each of those 3 items. And the first one is find and measure product market fit. And getting to the product market fit is the only thing that matters. And it's not possible to build a company if you have not found your product market fit. But what is it, and how do you know you have reached product market fit? It's a simple question that is not difficult to answer. And there is a clear explanation on how to measure product market fit. And the truth is that product market fit is absolutely clear and measurable entity, and it's not different for every company. Well, like I said, products and markets can be unique, absolutely, but process of measuring product market fit is not unique at all. Let's dive in. So product, market, what's in between? And if we say that product is interpreted as a combination of value proposition, features, and user experience, and market is defined as users and their needs, which is hard to argue with, the fit between them lies in achieving the following. It is clear who the target customer is, and you bring those right customers in. It is clear which specific customers' needs your product is to serve. Your value proposition gets traction. Your product does have the right features to serve the needs of the target customers, and the customers can easily understand how to do what they want to do when interacting with your product. And if these 5 statements are true, if you can kind of check mark those as true statements, it means that you are in the right market with a product that can serve this market. So the fit is, or the fit equals, statement 1 is true, plus statement 2 is true, plus statement 3 is true, plus statement 4 is true, and plus statement 5 is true. It's kind of like a formula of those statements are true. And it is important to understand that those are not 5 ordered steps, since it's almost impossible to argue with equal importance of each of them. If we remove at least one of the product or market-related variables out of this formula, the fit between the product and market might not happen. The question is what to measure. And although this formula is very logical and really difficult to question, it only shows what is true when the product market fit is already found. And it doesn't help you understand which metrics have to be measured to monitor whether product market fit is actually happening. And you can constantly experiment with your value proposition, validate hypothesis, trying to understand which features are important and which are not. You can proudly announce the winners of multiple A/B tests and debate on the criteria of the next MVP, but not measuring the impact on activation, engagement, retention, and customer loyalty leads to building a product just for sake of building it. While the ultimate of any company should be build a product a lot of customers want. So to answer the question on which to measure, the quick answer to the question is have a customer on the radar. Okay, now it's becoming clear, I hope. So to understand when product market fit happens, you have to know how healthy your activation, engagement, retention, and customer loyalty indicators are. So 4 key areas for measuring product health are the following. Activation, are new users becoming active users? Engagement, how engaged are your active users? Retention, are you giving your users enough reasons to come back? And the last but not the least, Are your users happy enough to become your promoters? So what is most important? Is it activation, loyalty, engagement, retention? What should you focus on first? And the truth is that building a product a lot of customers want is not a single variable problem. So you have to pay attention to all of them. How? Well, again, focus on a customer. Have a customer on the radar, a customer whose life you are trying to improve and who actually hires your product to do the job. So product market fit radar, that's kind of like a framework that makes product market fit measurable and tangible, and thus easier to manage and discuss with your team. And as you can see, the product market fit radar has 4 dimensions that collectively, that's the keyword, that collectively indicate whether the company found its product market fit. With activation, you check whether new users have experienced the value of your product. With engagement, you measure the level of users' commitment to your product and find out whether they find value in your product. With retention, you can understand whether you're giving your users enough reasons to come back. And with loyalty dimension on the radar, you know whether you have enough loyal and enthusiastic customers who recommend your product to other potential buyers. So having these 4 on the radar is a good way to measure the health of your product. And let's dive in. Activation. So activation is a moment when a new user takes specific action to get value out of a product. In Instagram's case, for example, that specific action might be posting certain number of photos or following certain number of people on other accounts. And for other types of products, activation could be defined as signing up, making first transaction or first purchase, viewing 3 videos within a specified period of time, etc., etc., etc. An activation metric answers the question, what percentage of new users have experienced the value of your product? Percentage of new users who have experienced your product's value equals the number of specific actions divided by the number of new users. For example, let's say 100 completed first purchases divided by 1,000 new users would mean the 10% of new users who got the value of the e-commerce product X, okay? Now, how to identify the activation metric? It is your job to define what should be a key milestone in driving long-term product usage. Like what is the number one use and most important user experience they should be getting in the product? And do not try to guess, okay? A good way to start is to analyze the user behavior to find out what returns users consistently to do in your product. What is that thing? Now, a logical question, what is a positive activation rate indicator? You can start with 30% as a benchmark for activation rate, and then check whether it has the right number for you. But the negative would, let's say, can be less than 10%. The neutral would be about 30%, and the positive, anything exceeding 30%. But again, you can start with this benchmark and then see what it looks like for your product. The second dimension of the radar is engagement, okay? So engagement rate helps you measure the level of users' commitment to your product and find out whether they find the real value in your product. And engagement rate answers the question, how engaged are your active users? And to measure the depth of engagement per user, you have to divide the number of key actions completed by users for example, transactions or songs listened to or movies watched or reports created, etc., 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 divided by active users count. For example, weekly active users or monthly active users. For example, if we have 10 million songs listened to by users divided by 100 million users, monthly active users, that would mean a 10% engagement rate for the music streaming service. And again, what is a positive engagement rate indicator? It depends. And again, you can start with something with a benchmark of, let's say, 50% for, and then set the goals for improvement. Like negative can be below 20, neutral 50, and positive exceeding 50%. Now, the third dimension of the radar is retention. Retention rate is the metric that helps you understand whether you are giving your users enough reasons to come back over time and whether you are bringing the right users in. Retention rate answers the questions, how many of your active users return to the product over time? And to measure your product's retention, you have to use a retention curve. Let's say this is a retention curve for product A, and we are analyzing users who started using product A for the first time on, let's say, January 1st through January 31st. And this graph shows weighted average of nth day retention for numbers from cohorts of users acquired within that period of time. And according to the retention curve, for example, day 5, as you can see, retention is 50%. And this means that out of all users who first used the product on January 1st, which was day 0, 50% came back and were active on January 6th, which is day 5. And looks like a huge drop-off, but we can see that the curve stabilizes on day 15. And we can say that product A has product market fit for this particular cohort. And yes, retention can indicate whether your product has a product market fit problem. For example, product B's retention trends to 0 pretty fast, which means that it does not give its users enough reasons, enough value to return and to take those key actions within the product. And product B has not found the product market fit. And it is important to mention that before building similar graph to measure your product's retention, make sure that you have defined clearly 2 things: key actions, like actions that you want your users to do every time they come back to your product, and usage interval, frequency, like daily, weekly, monthly, etc., with which you expect people to use your product. Okay, and the 4th dimension on the product market fit radar is not to check whether your customers have established a habit around your product or whether you give them enough reasons to come to your product over time. This one is aimed to measure how loyal your customers are. And measuring customers' loyalty helps you know whether you have enough loyal and, let's say, enthusiastic customers who would recommend or who do recommend your product to other potential buyers. And what is important, why is it important to measure customer loyalty? Mainly because loyal customers are the ones who are likely to look around, who are less likely to look around for an alternative solution. And B, they are more likely to recommend your product to other users and become your growth engine. Now, how to measure customer loyalty? The truth is that there are multiple ways to measure customer loyalty, and some companies associated with dollar or revenue-related metrics like customer lifetime value or repurchasing levels and multiple product purchases. Others prefer to measure customer loyalty index, which comes from customer surveys, But when thinking of customer loyalty and trying to understand whether you've built the product a lot of customers want, in our opinion, Net Promoter Score is one of the best ways and one of the best metrics to apply. So NPS is measured with a just single question survey and reported with a number from -100 to 100. And this question is, how likely is that you would recommend product X to a friend or colleague? And respondents give rating between 0, not at all likely, and 10, which is extremely likely. And depending on their responses, they fall into 3 categories. Promoters, those who put 9 and 10, loyal, enthusiastic customers who recommend your product to other potential buyers. Passives, who put 7 and 8, those are satisfied customers, but not happy enough to be considered as promoters. And detractors, those who put from 0 to 6. Those are unhappy customers who are, or not happy enough, who are unlikely to repurchase your product and can even damage your product's reputation with negative word of mouth. And to determine the NPS, you have to subtract the percentage of detractors from the percentage of promoters, and the NPS can range from -100 to 100. Now, what is the positive NPS? Again, there are a bunch of benchmarks that you can find on the web, and it varies basically by industry. But for the software or applications, for example, 30 is an average score. You can compare NPS against other companies to set your goals, but the main goal is to constantly experiment and build the experience that creates promoters. So build a product a lot of customers want. So a lot said about the product market fit radar. The product market fit is happening when all of these 4 statements are true. Okay, users have experienced the value of your product, which means activation is happening. Users find the value in your product, which means engagement is happening. Users are given enough reasons to come back, and they do come back to the product over time, which means the retention is in place. And users are loyal and enthusiastic and are willing to recommend your product to other potential buyers. Achieving product market fit means you've built a lot of customers want, and a lot cannot be true when at least one of these 4 is false. All of them have to be true, and then it would mean that you build a product a lot of customers want. So the product market fit formula is activation, like product market fit equals activation plus engagement plus retention and plus loyalty. So actually 4 dimensions on the product market fit radar. And this radar approach, when you have a customer on the radar and you're measuring these 4, makes it possible to measure the product market fit, and thus easier to manage it and to discuss it within your teams. Now, why these 4? Why activation, engagement, retention, and loyalty? Well, none of them is a vanity metric. All of them are about a customer. All of them are about the value of your product, and all of them are actionable, okay? And all of them are measurable. So that was about the first step on the playbook on how to build sustainable growth strategies, how to define and how to measure the product market fit, how to understand that you are achieving it. Second point in this deck today is build and scale functional growth teams. Okay, so what is a growth team? A quick answer is it's a self-contained team that owns and drives business metrics through testing practices. And you do have to have these teams if you want to grow. So in the growth team structure would have the following. So the following roles of the growth teams would be needed to build this team. Product manager, that's a leader who sets the culture and direction of this team. Then you need marketing expertise, marketers who are experts in at least one channel, and they are T-shaped specialists who are deeply experienced in at least one channel and understand how all the marketing function works. Design expertise, so you don't need to have perfectionists in growth teams. You have to have a designer who can mock up quickly and experiment a lot quickly. Engineers, experiment-driven, passionate about growth, again, not necessarily perfectionists. And data analysts. Without these guys, it's really difficult to make conclusions and understand how you're doing. So they help design the tests and extract the insights out of the experiments really fast. So that was the second thing on a playbook on how to build sustainable growth strategies, to build a growth team that would consist of marketing, design, engineering, and analytics expertise, and with a PM being a leader of the team. And the third thing on the third point of this, the third step on this playbook is scale via testing and experiment. So you have a growth team now. They have to help you scale the business via testing and experiments. And here there are 5 steps that you have to follow. It's discovery, prioritization, design and execution, measurement and learning, and getting insights. And those are like logically ordered 5 steps. You discover what you're going to be testing, or like on a high level, what you are validating. And then you prioritize all the ideas that you have for the tests. And there are a bunch of, we're not going to dive deep in it, but there are a bunch of, again, frameworks and playbooks on how to prioritize what to test, which feature or functionality to test. And then design and execution. This is when your growth team actually executes the actual experiments. And then measurement, when your data analysts measure the results. And then extract learning stage, like what are you learning out of those tests, and extracting insights to implement in the product or to run another test, okay? So let's summarize it a little bit. So building a lot of customers want, or which translates into building a sustainable growth strategy, can be done on this playbook. Find and measure the product market fit, build and scale functional growth teams, and scale via testing and experiments. So those are 3 things. And product market fit, it's all about the radar, and with activation, engagement, retention, loyalty dimensions of this radar. Building and scale functional growth teams, it's about having not classic marketing teams, but a team of different mixed expertises on marketing, product, engineering, data analysis, and design. And scaling via testing experiments, where you discover, prioritize, run actual tests, measure the results, and then make decisions and get insights for the product development, product roadmap, or for the next tests. That was it. 3 items. I hope it's useful. I hope you guys come back to your offices, to your products, and implement what I was sharing today. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.